Welcome to CAT with Clarity. Today we are going to discuss ratio and proportion basics. This is very important for Quant, DI and LR, all three of them in CAT, and it builds foundation for CAT arithmetic. So let me simply give you this question which appears in CAT often. If A and B are in the ratio 3 is to 5 and A increases by 20% and B decreases by 20%, what happens to the ratio? Now tell me honestly, did you instantly think of a formula? Or did you feel confused for a second? Because this is exactly where CAT traps you. Not in difficulty, but in misdirection. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to solve the questions in under 20 seconds without fear, without confusion. Let's begin. What is ratio? Ratio is a comparison between two quantities. For example, A is to B equal to 2 is to 3 means A has two parts and B has three parts. So, in order to get the values of A and B, we have to take a common multiplier like X. So, the ratio which is 2 is to 3, that does not mean that A is 2 and B is 3. It just means that A and B are in the ratio 2 is to 3. So, if we take a common multiplier X, the value of A will become 2x and B will become 3x. Ratio, so always remember that ratio is not a value, it's just a relationship between quantities. And we can always use x as a common multiplier. It helps us in solving CAT questions. Now let's look at an example. It's given A and B are in the ratio 3 is to 5 and A plus B is equal to 64. So, in order to get the values of A and B, what can we do? We again take the common multiplier x and we get the values of A as 3x and B as 5x. Now we add both of them A and B, so it becomes 3x plus 5x equal to 64, which is 8x plus 64, x equal to 8. Now to get the values, we multiply x, we keep ax in the value of A and B, so A equal to 3x is 3 into 8 equal to 24, B equal to 5x, 5 into 8 equal to 40. Now, what is proportion? When two ratios are equal, they are in proportion. For example, a ratio is A by B and a ratio is C by D. If they are equal, that is A by B is equal to C by D, it's called to be in proportion. Now, we can always cross multiply this and say that A into D equal to B into C. Now, let's look at an example. 2 by 3 equal to x by 12. That is 2 ratio of 2 is to 3 is equal to ratio of x is to 12. Now, if we cross multiply, we can get the value of x. So 2 into 12, 24, 3 into x, 3x, 3x equal to 24, x equal to 8. This is as simple as it gets. Now there are two types of ratio. One is direct ratio, another one is inverse ratio. Direct ratio means one increases, the other one increases as well. Inverse ratio means one increases, the other one decreases. Now this concept is used in time and work and speed and distance, which we will cover in our next videos. Now, there is also division in ratio. Let's say there is 80 is there and it is divided in two parts, which are in the ratio 2 is to 3. So again, if we take the common multiplier x, then one part is 2x, another part is 3x. So the total is nothing but 5x. So we get the value of x equal to 16. So the value of one part becomes 2 into 16 equal to 32. The value of second part becomes 3 into 16 equal to 48. So instead of taking x, we can directly add the parts 2 plus 3 equal to 5. And each part we can get by dividing the whole value 80 by the total part, which is 5 and 60. And then we can multiply it with 2 and 3 to get the value of the two parts. Now in CAT, you have to understand that ratio questions do not come alone, stand alone. They are always hidden in the percentages question, averages question, and DI sets you'll often find mixture of ratio, percentage, average, all in one. So you always have to recognize the pattern, not just memorize formula. Now, what we'll do is we'll take few examples from previous year CAT questions and we will look at them and try to understand how to approach the question. So first example is this one. A container has milk and water in the ratio 5 is to 3. If 16 liters of the mixture is taken out and replaced with water, the ratio becomes 3 is to 5. What is the initial quantity of the mixture? Okay, so it's very easy to understand that a container has milk and water which is in the ratio 5 is to 3. So what we'll do, we'll take, let's say, total initial quantity equal to x liter. So if initial is x liter, how much will be milk in that? 5 part divided by total 8 parts, so 5 by 8 of x. And again, water, how much will water be? It's in the ratio 5 is to 3, so water is 3 parts. So again, total quantity is x. So 3 divided by total 8, so 3 by 8x. So milk is initial 5x by 8, water is 3 by x by 8. Now we are removing 16 liters. So out of those 16 liters, again milk will be removed how much? 5 by 8, because its value is 5 by 8. 5 parts out of 8 parts. So milk removed will be nothing but 5 by 8 into 16, which is 5 into 10, 10 liters. And what is water removed? 3 by 8 into 16, which is nothing but 6 liters. So how much will be the remaining? Milk will be 5x by 8 was initial, minus what we removed, 10 liters. Water will be how much? Initial was 3x by 8, then we removed 6 liters, so 3x by 8 minus 6. So these are the final values of milk and water in the mixture. Now 16 liters of water is added. So new water will become how much? 3x by 8 minus 6 plus 16, which is nothing but 3x by 8 plus 10. So the new values will be, milk will be 5x by 8 minus 10 and water will be 3x by 8 plus 10. So the new ratio will become 5x by 8 minus 10 divided by 3x by 8 plus 10. And it in the question is given, the new ratio becomes 3 by 5. So we'll solve it for x. 5x by 8 minus 10 divided by 3x by 8 plus 10 equal to 3 by 5. We do cross multiplication. So 5 into 5x by 8 minus 10 equal to 3 into 3x by 8 plus 10. On solving, we get x equal to 64 liters. So you see the approach. We take the total quantity as x. Then we find the initial quantity of milk and water. Then we find out how much quantity is removed, and then we find out the remaining quantity, and then we take their ratio and get the value of x, which is the initial quantity of the mixture. Now moving on to the next question. Now here you see, in the last question there was ratio and mixture. In this question we have ratio and work. So the question is, A and B can complete a work in the ratio of their efficiencies 3:5. If together they finish the work in 12 days, how many days will A take alone to complete the work? Okay. So together A and B are taking 12 days to finish the work. In how many days A alone can finish the work? And their efficiencies are given in the ratio 3:5. So again we take the common multiplier, let's say K here. So value of A will be become, what will be A's efficiency? 3K. And what will be B's efficiency? 5K. So total work will be how much? The sum of their efficiencies multiplied by the number of days. So 3K plus 5K, 8K into 12 equal to 96K. That will be the total work. So now how much time will A take? Simple. Total work divided by A's efficiency. So that is 96K divided by 3K equal to 32 days. So A alone will take 32 days. Now you see, it becomes very simple. Now moving on to the last question of this video. Three partners A, B, C invest money in the ratio 2:3:5. After 6 months, C withdraws half of his investment. If the total profit after 1 year is rupees 36,000, find the share of A. Okay, so three partners are investing. Their ratio is given 2:3:5. After 6 months, what happened? C withdraws half of his investment. So he is investing only half of what he invested initially, and now it's given that the total profit is 36,000. So find the share of A. So share of A, B and C will be in the ratio of their investment. So we have to find the ratio of their investment. Accordingly, we can find the ratio of their profit or the profit share of each one of them. So let's say, again now since the ratio is given 2:3:5, we take the common multiplier x. So their initial investment will become how much? A equal to 2x, B equal to 3x, C equal to 5x. And we assume that each month they are investing this amount. So for 12 months, A will invest how much? 2x into 12, that is 24x. B will invest how much? 3x into 12, that is 36x. For C, what will happen? For first 6 months, it will invest 5x into 6, that is 30x. But for the next 6 months, his investment will become half. So half of 5x, that is 2.5x, and multiplied by 6 equal to 15x. So total investment of C becomes 30x plus 15x, which is 45x. So we can again get the total ratio of their investment. That will be 24x is to 36x is to 45x, which is on simplification 8 is to 12 is to 15. So now we see the parts. 8 plus 12 plus 15, total is how much? 35. So total parts is 35 and the ratio is 8 is to 12 is to 15. So what will be A share? A share, A's part divided by total part into the total profit. So A's part is 8 divided by total part 35 into 36,000, which is 8229 rupees. So today what we learned, ratio basics, proportion and cross multiplication, division in ratio, CAT application trick, and we also solved some questions from CAT. Now, if this video helped you, then please like, share, and subscribe to CAT with Clarity. Stay consistent with the basics. Now, I have uploaded two videos. The first one was in percentage, the second was in is in ratio. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments, and I'll make sure I reply to the comments. And if you want me to make some video on some topic, please tell me. If you have any other doubts, any other queries, please comment. Thank you.